Today, I'm trying 3 party dips from the Gooseberry Patch Tailgating Cookbooklet. I am going a little bit more modern this week. This book was published in 2005. Admittedly, I do not follow football, but I do love snacks. So tailgating recipes, they're appealing to me. This book has a lot of different types of recipes, not just party dips, even though that's what I focused on. They have snack mixes, they have drinks, they have all kinds of things. So I'm really looking forward to trying these out and seeing how they are. I came across this chicken enchilada dip and I knew I had to make it. You know, it just seemed a little bit different, maybe a little bit of a twist on your regular, taco dip over here. Something that interests me a lot in this dip is that it is cold. It is served cold. In my mind, as I was planning this video, reading through, choosing the recipes, I was like, hot. These are all gonna be hot. Literally, as I was prepping the ingredients for this dish, I read it again and I'm like, wait, I don't see a baking aspect to this. What is going on? And I read through it, I don't know, for the 10th time. It's a cold dip, so even more intriguing to me. So this dip actually starts with cooked chicken. I would say you can use whatever kind of cooked chicken you have from a rotisserie chicken, or if you've roasted some chicken and pulled it off the bone. This instructs 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that you cover with water in a saucepan and cook. Doesn't give a weight, so what I did is I had some chicken breast tenderloins, just over a pound, and I covered them in a little bit of chicken stock, and I cooked them the way that it was instructed in the recipe. And then I chopped them up and let them cool just a little, enough for me to handle. Chopped them up, set them aside. Now in a large mixing bowl, I need to add 8 ounces of cream cheese that has been softened. And I do have my hand mixer out for this. You don't have to do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use my hand mixer because I want it to be pretty smooth, but you could do this with a spatula. I'm gonna start by breaking up the cream cheese just a little bit. I like to do this with cream cheese before I add anything else. I just find that things mix a little more evenly. You don't end up with lumps. Mix cheeses. Okay, so that was 8 ounces of cream cheese. I have 1 1/3 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. That adds up to be like a little over 6 ounces. I have a little bit more shredded in the fridge that I'm gonna sprinkle on the top, I think. We'll see how it shapes up. I would say that is nicely blended together. Yeah. Next, I need to add garlic. It says a teaspoon. I don't know, measure with your heart on this. Every clove is not gonna be a perfect teaspoon, so I had a couple of small ones and a larger one. That's what I'm going with. Chili powder. That's a 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder. Very chili forward. This is a pretty well seasoned dip, I think. Cumin, oregano, and paprika. So that is a teaspoon of each. So I have all 3 here. I went with a smoked paprika because I thought it would complement the other flavors very well. Cayenne pepper and cayenne pepper sauce. And these 2 are just to taste. So I'm just gonna tap a little bit in there. I know the people I'm going to serve this to probably are not gonna be too afraid of spice. So use your best judgment for who you are serving this dip to. And this was the first hot pepper sauce I grabbed. It's Crystal. Use what you have, use what you like. And just put in a couple dashes, or no dashes to little dashes if you want. Oh, this is very heavily seasoned. Will you look at this color? That is, I guess in my mind, I know there's chili powder and paprika in here, but that is bright. But there's quite a bit of chicken in here, so I think it's gonna offset some of the zestiness. Add chicken, cilantro, and green onions and tomatoes and gently fold. I am gonna do the tomatoes. This is a can of diced tomatoes and green chilies. It doesn't say to drain it. I drained it a little bit. We left a little liquid in there. And again, I got the original kind, but this comes in different spice levels. So if you want it spicy, get the spicy kind. And then 4 green onions chopped. Ooh, these are strong. These are strong. And then it says a bunch of cilantro, like an entire bunch. That's a pretty strong flavor. I know it can be very divisive. So just do what you feel. Do what you feel. I don't know, I did 1/3 of a bunch. I'm gonna go ahead and fold that a little bit before I add the chicken. I'm kind of glad I left a little of the liquid in the tomatoes. It did loosen things up a bit. Sometimes a just purely cream cheese kind of dip can get a little bit hard to scoop with a chip. This is my cooked chicken. I'm gonna add all of it. Interesting. I've not seen a dip quite like this, especially a cold dip. It says that you're supposed to refrigerate this overnight for full flavor. I am going to let it go a couple of hours in the fridge before I give it a taste. That's what it's looking like so far, though. Okay, so I left this dip in the fridge for about 3 hours. It says overnight is best for like full flavor development, but I gotta try it. I just can't wait. I'm just so interested in it because it's a cold chicken dip. I think it's gonna be very good. Just, you know, I know it's well seasoned. There's a lot of seasonings in here. The color, that color is very orange. I just put a little cheese and some green onions on top as a garnish. I'm serving it alongside my favorite tortilla chips, Fiesta Grande. These are from Michigan. I can get them at Meijer, but I did also notice that some of my other grocery stores around have started carrying them. So these are my favorite. They're very delicious if you can get your hands on them. They're kind of like thicker and very crispy and nice, but they're also like flaky at the same time. Just a good experience. You can also order them online if you want to try them. Okay. They're very sturdy as well. I'll stop talking about these tortilla chips and taste this. That is very good. It is well seasoned, but not over seasoned. I was a little bit afraid, like when I saw what color it was, I was like, oh, there's a lot going on in there. But once you add the chicken, it kind of balances everything out. I will say there's a little bit of a zest to it. Not anything I can't handle, but if spice is not your thing, you're probably gonna wanna adjust the seasonings in this one. Very tasty. I think this would also travel really well because you don't have to worry about keeping it hot. I decided to check out this hot pepperoni dip. When I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, pepperoni, like a pizza dip. It is absolutely not a pizza dip at all. Judging by the ingredients list, this is going to be like a cheesy, melty, peppery, pepperoni kind of dip. I'm really looking forward to trying it because I'm not sure if I've had anything quite like it. And I'm gonna cut this recipe in half. It makes quite a lot, like enough to serve 10 people. So we're gonna cut all of the ingredient quantities in half. To begin with, I am preheating my oven to 350 degrees and I have 1 cup of mayonnaise in this bowl. To that, I am going to be adding a cup of sharp cheddar cheese. It doesn't really matter what order I add these in. They're both white because of this, I'm using white cheddar cheese and mozzarella cheese. So, but you know what? They're both going to the same place. Doesn't matter the order. So I have my cheddar and my mozzarella. Trying to decide if the casserole dish that I have chosen, if the baking dish is going to be large enough. My diced green chilies. So I have 2 ounces of canned diced green chilies here. The recipe called for a red onion. My store was completely out of red onions. I just have yellow onions on hand. So I finally diced up a small one. If you really like onions, you could probably add more to this. I went with a small dice, hoping that it will cook a little bit in the oven and soften. A finely diced jalapeno pepper. The full recipe says 2 to 3 jalapenos. I used 1 really large one for half a recipe. And I did take out the seeds and the membrane because I feel like this is gonna be pretty zesty on its own. We'll find out. All right, that is well mixed. I'm gonna grab my dish. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out if it all fits in there. I think it will. The full recipe fits into, it says a 9 by 13 inch pan. So you could also go like an 8 by 8 baking dish if you want. I just wanted to use this cute one. You know me and my cute dishes. I have like 10, 12 pieces of pepperoni. Instead of like laying them on the top and baking it, I chose to slice them into little sticks, I guess, with my scissors. I just cut them up with kitchen scissors. I think it's gonna be a little bit better for dipping because if you just have a bigger round pieces of pepperoni, you know, those are not gonna necessarily be like well incorporated into like a cracker, when you're dipping a cracker. You're just gonna pull up like one whole one. So I just wanted them to go like a little further. I am using cup and crisp pepperoni because that is what I keep on hand for when I make Detroit style pizza. But just use your favorite. These are like pepperoni sprinkles. Wow, that came together very quickly. So now I need to bake this at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. This smells good. I just don't really know what to expect from it. Like I can smell the jalapenos and I can smell like the pepperoni, like the seasonings there. I almost also kind of smell almost like a pickled jalapeno smell, maybe just like the green chilies. I'm not really sure, but we're gonna try it. I have Ritz crackers here. You can also serve this with a baguette. I need to go get one of those. Ooh, it's still really hot. Okay. Chopping up the pepperoni for me anyway was like the right choice here, just because, you know, trying to like dip a cracker or put some on a plate, you know, I just think it works a little bit better. Okay, that's very good. Tastes kind of like an Italian sub. The onions, the peppers, the pepperoni, the cheese. Like there's definitely like an oil and vinegar kind of flavor in there, probably from like the mayonnaise and stuff. That's very good with the Ritz cracker. I will be interested to try it with a baguette. It does have a nice like zestiness to it. It's gonna depend on how hot, like how spicy your jalapenos are, you know, the seasoning in your pepperoni. The onions and the jalapeno, like they did cook very nicely. So there's not like big crunchy pieces in there. I kind of understand now, like the red onion, I just didn't have any, but I do think it would go well in this. This is so interesting. I wasn't really sure like what I thought it was gonna be. That is really good. Pretty unexpected, different, just like different than any other dip I've had. Well, I had to do it. I am going to be trying this touchdown taco dip. I feel like this is one of those recipes that has a lot of variations and it is a classic for a reason. A lot of people love this kind of thing. This recipe is a hot dip. You know, it's beans, it's cheese, it's taco seasoning and vegetables. I've seen, you know, cold versions of like a 7-layer taco dip with lots of different things. Honestly, you could probably take a few ingredients from a list of ingredients that go in taco dips, put any of them together and it'd be great. If you make this and you take it to something or have it at your house, I think it's guaranteed to disappear. We'll see how this one is though. I've never tried it. So I have a pie plate here, just a Pyrex pie plate. And I'm gonna start with a can of refried beans and I have to spread that in the bottom of the pie plate. In the meantime, I am preheating my oven to 375 degrees. My offset spatula is great for things like this. I'm gonna take a moment to spread this out and then I'm gonna put it in the fridge. I kind of want this layer to maybe firm up a little bit. I don't know if that'll work. But yeah, I need to spread a cream cheese mixture on top of it. And you know, I don't know how that's gonna work with these soft refried beans. The next layer is going to be a mixture of 8 ounces of cream cheese and 1 packet of taco seasoning. I let my cream cheese soften at room temperature and then I ended up microwaving it for like 10 seconds just to make sure it is extra, extra soft and spreadable. Combine cream cheese and taco seasoning, spread over beans. Okay, I am gonna use my hand mixer for this. Okay, very well mixed, but doesn't this look like the mixture from the very first recipe I tried? It's like the same color. Let me grab my beans. I don't know if I had them in there long enough to do anything, but we'll see. I think I'm gonna like put this in a few different clumps. Spread that. Trying to be gentle. I wouldn't mind if this dip looked nice. It kind of looks like pumpkin, like a pumpkin pie filling, but wow, that would be a shocker. Or like that pumpkin dip I made a few years back. It looks a lot like that. It's the same color. It looks like it has spices in it. It is not the same. I guess if you wanted to trick someone, you could serve this as pumpkin pie dip. Don't do that. Don't tell anybody I said that. That's mean. That was my oven. We need less mean, more nice. You know, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's gonna bake, it's gonna melt together a little bit. I'm okay with this. Sprinkle with tomato, onion, and cheddar cheese. I have my cheddar cheese. My tomatoes and my onions are back here. Chopped up 2 like Roma tomatoes. I mean, tomatoes are just not in season right now, and so they're not the greatest. But I found the reddest ones I could. I chopped them up in kind of a small dice. I did salt them a little bit before, you know, getting this process started. Get those evenly spread out. And onion. I'm gonna use green onion because I like it. I have it and I like it. So that's what I'm doing. And the cheese, it said a half a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. It's about 2 ounces, so I weighed it out and I shredded it very fine. When I have a small amount of cheese, I just use my little hand grater. I don't get the box grater out or anything. Fancy. Honestly, if you didn't want to bake this, I've seen taco dips like this where people just make them cold in these layers and they're delicious. I do want to bake this though. So I need to bake this at 375 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, this smells really good. It smells like a party to me. I'm just gonna try a little bit. I actually have some friends coming over. We're gonna try all these dips. So I'm gonna warm this one back up a little bit later. You can put sour cream on the top of this to garnish it, give a little something extra. I'm choosing to let people do that on their own. You could even pipe the sour cream on here if you were feeling fancy. Again, my favorite tortilla chips. Scoop a little bit. It's very hot. Hot, but very good. Good flavors, good combination. A real crowd pleaser, I think. I have so much to talk about with these party dips. Okay, so we better get started. The Gooseberry Patch Tailgating Cookbooklet was published in 2005. I've covered a few Gooseberry Patch cookbooks on this channel. They started out as like a catalog with different kinds of like gifts and things. They started publishing cookbooks in 1992, I believe. I do have a video on their very first cookbook. I will link it in the description down below. The cookbooks were so successful that they eventually phased out the catalog with gifts and things in it. I know a lot of people are sad over the loss of that catalog. They really enjoyed it. These Gooseberry Patch books and cookbooklets are crowdsourced usually. People submit recipes, so a lot of times they're submitting their best stuff, and their recipes I find them to be pretty reliable. What I think this little cookbooklet is a compilation of other recipes from the larger Gooseberry Patch books. And I think that because I found a recipe in here that I have made on this channel, zucchini appetizers. You might remember if you've been watching my videos that I made the zucchini appetizers recipe from the Gooseberry Patch cookbook called For Bees and Me. It was like a summer recipes video that I put together, and the zucchini appetizers were incredible. They were delicious, but they appear in this book too. It's exactly the same recipe. So that's what makes me think, oh, these are probably pulled from the other books that they have. This book has more than just recipes in it. It has pretty cute sketches, I do enjoy some of the artwork in Gooseberry Patch books, mostly because it makes me feel kind of nostalgic, especially the books that were published in the 90s, like the early to mid 90s. Makes me think of my mom and growing up, and that was kind of like a style that existed at that time. But they also contain recommendations, pieces of advice, just ideas for parties and giving parties, decorating for parties. This one says, swap recipes with tailgating neighbors, a terrific way to try something new. I like that one especially. Nighttime football games can be chilly. Stitch together a warm fleece lap blanket in team colors. That's fun if you're enthusiastic about the team that you're supporting. I was in the marching band. I didn't need a fleece lap blanket at a football game because I was busy either playing my instrument, I played the clarinet, or I was wearing a wool band uniform, so I really didn't need a blanket. Some other examples of different recipes. I did, party dips, but they have a sparkling punch here. You can see that. There's a whole section of beverages, lots of dips, and then they have poppers and stuffed mushrooms, like jalapeno poppers, cheese ball, just different party. These recipes could be applied to all kinds of different parties. It doesn't have to be tailgating. You can theme them in that way if you want to. One of the recommendations for the cheese ball is to make it into the shape of a football, decorate it with paprika, and then pipe on sour cream or cream cheese laces. So that's cute. If you are into a theme, if you love a theme, especially a sports theme, that's a great idea, I think. But you know what? I gotta talk about these recipes. I discovered some things. I had some friends over to help eat the dips because there was a lot. It was a lot. So I started with the chicken enchilada dip. Okay, so this is one of the ones I really want to expand on what I said earlier. This is a cold dip. I didn't realize it was a cold dip when until just before I started making it for this video. And it was really good. I liked that it was cold, that you didn't have to heat it necessarily. It was very well seasoned. It had chili powder, cumin, oregano, paprika, a little bit of cayenne pepper, some pepper sauce, cilantro. It had a lot of good flavors in it, so it definitely didn't lack in that department. I did take it out of the fridge and like kind of let it sit for a little bit before we ate it, so it wasn't like freezing cold. You know, eating it that way was really nice. It was really good. It would travel well, you know. You just keep it in a cooler. You don't have to worry about keeping it warm. But we were kind of talking and it came up like, what if this was hot, you know? I ended up sending some of this home with my friends as well because there's quite a lot of it. And one of them did try it warm and she said, oh yeah, it's really good. Like it's very good warm. So I did that too. I put the rest of it in a little baking dish and I baked it for like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes at 350, I think. Better, like even better. So it is good cold the way it's intended. It is even better warm, I would say. And you know what it kind of reminds me of? There's these like, what are they called? These like chicken egg roll wraps or something at like chain restaurants that you can get from the appetizer menu. It kind of reminds me of that. If I find the name of them, I will put it here because it's escaping me. But that's what it tastes like, is the filling for those. That's kind of another thing that I discovered I liked about this dip, is that it could be served cold or hot, and it's pretty great both ways. And the refrigerate overnight for full flavor. When I tried it on camera, I think it had been in the refrigerator for 3 hours. I served it the next day to my friends. And yeah, the flavors did develop a little bit longer. So give it some time, I would say. You know, go overnight if you can. My second recipe was hot pepperoni dip. And this one was unexpected. I didn't really know actually like what to think of this, like what it was going to taste like. I said it tasted like an Italian sub, and I kind of stand by that. One of my friends said, this reminds me of like an Olive Garden salad. So I think what we were tasting, even though there are none in here, it tasted kind of like the like pepperoncini peppers, sort of that pickled pepper taste. I think you could add some in here and they would go really well. The name of it is hot pepperoni dip. And yes, it does have pepperoni in it, but that's not like the lead flavor necessarily. I feel like, and this came up with another gooseberry patch recipe on one of my other videos, like I feel like it needs to be renamed. I don't know, it doesn't fully like accurately reflect what it's going to be. I'm also interested, I think instead of, or in addition to pepperoni, you could put like bits of salami in this too, and it would be really good just because it has that sort of like Italian sub flavor. That's what I came up with to describe it. The seasonings, the flavor of the pepperoni mixed with the peppers, the mayonnaise, and the cheese, it just kind of, that's what it forms. Like that's what happens to it. This was great with crackers. I tried it with Ritz crackers on camera. We also had little like baguette toasts. It's good with that too. And then one friend brought soft pretzels. It was really good with the soft pretzels. So that's another dipping idea for you if you want to try this one. And then finally, touchdown taco dip. This is a pretty classic recipe. I've seen this dip or some very similar variations in many cookbooks. Something I didn't mention on camera. So the layers are like beans on the bottom and then your cream cheese mixture like on top of that. When you bake this, the cream cheese and the beans sort of become one layer. The beans almost get like a fluffier texture because of the cream cheese. It just like melts right into them. It doesn't stay separate. This is another one that I believe you could serve cold. So kind of another versatile thing. I've seen taco dips, like 7-layer dips that are served cold. And, you know, as long as you don't mind like cold refried beans, like it's fine. Because yeah, there's nothing in here that's uncooked or anything like that. So this one was really good. I think, you know, if you took this to a party or had it, like it definitely would be one of those things that just you wouldn't have leftovers, let's put it that way. Whether you're hosting a watch party at your house, or you're actually traveling to a game and tailgating, or you just wanted to have a party. I hope I gave you a few new ideas for things to try. Maybe you want to take a little bit of an appetizer to a holiday get-together that's coming up, or maybe like a Friendsgiving or something like that. These would be great. Do you love cookbooks and recipes from Gooseberry Patch? I have an entire playlist and I'll link it in the description down below. I'd like to say a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to join us over there, I'll have a link in the description so that you can do that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post videos about food, vintage cookbooks, and retro recipes every week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.